Hello everyone. So despite my desperate wanting to wrap up dunking on the hose that I need to in order to get back to enjoying things on my newer channel, I am once again dealing with the aforementioned hose being added onto my plate. I will get back to working on my Susie video after the next one is done, which is funny because now 3 videos have pushed back my upcoming Heaton video because degeneracy cannot help but prevail. But for now, it's time to talk about Junkie. Originally, this video wasn't even something I'd thought about making, as I thought everything to be said and done about Junkie had already been said and done, but as we'll see, that's absolutely not the case. Also, quick disclaimer, a lot of genuinely unironically evil people are going to be talked about in this video, including groomers and child abusers, and while I'll initially refer to them by their screen names, I'm going to primarily call them by their legal first names because I don't feel like giving people like that anonymity. So, born in April 1997, the name's Junkie, whose real first name is Joseph, was a YouTuber who, after bullshitting around on his channel for a while, shifted into the DeviantArt ranter sphere in early 2016 with his friends like Chaos55T. His self-proclaimed goal in the upcoming months and years was apparently to uplift the little guy. As the DeviantArt ranty community was fucking evil and basically like 90% adults bullying the absolute shit out of typically female tween and teen artists, and believe me, I'm being humble with that 90%. My friend Clownteeth, who is a sizable name in the community back in the day as a minor, is working on a video or videos about the community's history and how unfathomably dog shit it was, so do watch those when those come out. So back to Joseph. Admittedly, what he went into the DA ranting space with was a noble effort, though it would have been more noble if he managed to pull through on it. Despite minor public mini-fights with whatever person he was beefing with, which was very frequent, mind you, I'd say he was a relatively inoffensive content creator, especially compared to the genuinely batshit creators he was coming up with. At the time, there was what I can only describe as a deep cleaning of the community as newer creators like Icy Hazard, Junkie, Spoctor, Pentagrin, and others came into it with an extremely different mentality and moral compass compared to the older members like the Fandom Menace, Sav Draws, Deviant Cringe, Amy Chan, and Sonic Fan 93, leading all of the old guard being banished to irrelevance. You might have noticed that the listed newer creators were also complete garbage, save for Clown, Icy, who was the only one that didn't commit atrocities against mankind and actually made the effort to mature into the grown adult that she is. TLDR, the newer members seem to have much more diabolical issues with them beyond bullying children or anyone else they thought they could make fun of for a living. Not saying that the old members were good, they weren't, and a ton of children, or else people who just didn't deserve it, genuinely dealt with abject harassment from those creators and their fan bases, nor was the pattern of diabolical issues entirely unique to the newer creators. Joseph escaped this kind of condemnation for several years, only being the target of really stupid criticisms. Like, I haven't forgot when Simply Dad and Yo-Yo3639 tried to paint him as a bad person for having a video series where he would promote smaller channels deemed to be in the ranter genre, because to them it was him putting himself on a pedestal and giving smaller creators approval, which is the dumbest and most bad faith takeaway I could imagine having from that I can't help but feel it was just total projection. So yeah, I mean it when I say for a long while the biggest critics of Joseph back in the day were total fucking idiots, which sucks, because he actually did suck. This eventually came to light when in 2021, a YouTuber by the name of Heaton Mitsuru openly talked about her experience being lied about and thrown under the bus by Joseph back in 2018 over him giving her permission to use private screenshots that he gave her. Now, yes, we know Heaton very much on this channel, and we hate her. But she's absolutely relevant to this situation, so we have to talk about her. The situation between her and Joseph is so annoying too, because if Joseph wasn't such a complete coward, he could have just explained that he didn't know that Heaton was going to use them in the extremely inflammatory and inappropriate way that she did. Because yeah, that video was genuinely horrific and Heaton should have been rightfully chewed the fuck out for it, but instead he chose to lie and heavily insinuate to several people that he never gave Heaton permission to use the screenshots, just to keep the heat off himself. And Streisand's effect be damned, that led to literally all of the discourse focusing on him and his dishonesty. So Heaton coming forward about that led to Joseph just leaving his platforms like his Twitter and YouTube account, but far darker stuff from Joseph's past was soon on the horizon. In 2023, it was revealed in a video by Lyle Convoy that Joseph and Faghost, real name Liam, had a call back in January 2020 with then-creator Spoctor Tech, real name Colin, where Colin had admitted to obtaining real-life CSCM from a 13-year-old girl he was dating when he was either 16 or 17 and keeping it until past his 18th birthday. Spoctor also admitted in this call to keeping this girl around because it's, quote, better to be on good terms with someone that hated you.
Even I look back on it, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know? Especially after I turned 18, I was like, I had the drive. It was like sitting on my counter, and I looked at it and I was like, why do I still fucking have this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it was not too long after her and I stopped talking.
Yeah. And you guys are not on any of the you guys aren't in a fling anymore, and
no. We're just on good terms because it's better to be on good terms with someone that hated you. Yeah. Literally, it's destroyed. I fucking crushed it. I wiped it, I formatted it, and crushed it.
Can you take a picture of it and show us that you did crush it?
I flushed it down. Dude, this was. Do you know this was ages ago, right?
This
was ages ago.
Yeah.
This was the beginning of 2019.
Pretty much.
All right then.
So shit.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know.
Besides, even if you ask for pictures, what would I do? I could just take buy a flash drive and crush it and say, "Oh, here's your proof."
Here's the proof, basically.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to explain how fucking sick it is that you specifically get the 13-year-old girl that sent you nudes when you were 16 in your good graces now that you're at an older age that not only highlights how fucking weird and inappropriate the age gap is, 15 and 18, but while the kid who sent you her naked body in the first place is still at such a young and vulnerable age. And I can't even begin to explain how fucking sick it is that two adults heard this and just brushed past it like it was fucking normal. But I shouldn't be surprised with either of the people confronting Colin considering they're both degenerates in their own right. More to be explained on Junkie in a minute. In case I need to spell it out, this is literally just what groomers do in order to keep their victims on a leash. And it's exactly what happened between me and one of the men that groomed me, Avraham. And the second I broke free of that hold he had on me when I was 20, he spent the next 2 years poisoning my name to anyone that would listen. Joseph covering for Spoctor in that regard was already horrible, but it actually gets way worse and in a way that I need to expand attention to far off of just Joseph at this point. Because on January 3rd, 2020, when I was freshly 17, Ponder reached out to people in her server, the same one I've been talking about in my past videos, which Colin had also left in light of the accusations going public from a YouTuber named Manus at the end of 2019. She asked for help on what to do regarding this situation after receiving confirmation from Colin that he indeed did what he was accused of, and from there everyone hopped into a call where they learned from Ponder what Colin had done. The people who we can confirm knew from this call include Ponder, Caden Monroe aka Christopher, Ellie Willy Woo, though keep her in mind, V Omega aka Brandon, Manga Kamen, Jelly aka Fagos/Liam, Chaos55T, and Junkie aka Joseph. I said remember Ellie because I was able to bring this up to her and she claimed that she wasn't in the call for very long and never learned of the exact nature of the allegations, which would match up with her presence in the text conversation revolving around the call at the time it happened. Though my memory is shaky on the exact details, from the text conversation it's clear that Ponder was experiencing a lot of anger and confusion on what to do. The general consensus was that Ponder was under a lot of stress, and given that the accusations were already made public by Manus, she should just sit back and let Colin get exposed without worrying about it. I understand that she was trying to listen to advice from her friends, some of whom may have had her genuine best interest in mind, but with 5 seconds of logical thinking and remembering context, Ponder absolutely should have said something considering that A, her public association with him at the time was that of a positive one, and B, the reason why it was positive is because she saved his entire fucking internet career against false sexual maltreatment allegations. What further makes no sense to me is why literally Luckily, no one else said anything either. Again, I was able to talk to Ellie about why she didn't say anything. However, the other people? It's been a known problem that back in the day, everyone used to look to Ponder to fix everything. And it seems like when she chose to sit out this time, everyone else took it as an invitation to do the same. Manga Common even says that everyone should publicly denounce Colin's actions and refuse to defend them, which is immediately shut down by both Brandon and Liam. That's actually unsurprising, given that Liam had just under 2 months prior fed the fake story to Ponder Clown and I that they had sexually assaulted 2 girls who later took their own lives and had us believe it was true. I can't imagine why Liam would be hesitant on taking part in publicly denouncing horrible, illegal things that the accused party has admitted were true. I should note that I went on to Manga Common's Twitter to search any tweets he made in this time space to see if he ended up saying anything, and homeboy just didn't. Love that, Common. No point in stopping there, since somehow things get even worse. If you had paid attention to any of Heaton Mitsuru's drama with Colin in the past, which stemmed from her drama with Joseph, then first of all, rip your sanity, and secondly, you might remember that she mentioned how Colin was confronted in Ponder's server.
Now, a conversation got had in Ponder Sprocket's Discord server with him and our resident lore master, Aaron Tempest. Aaron took a lot of the same issues I did and wanted to get Spoctor's thoughts on it. Also, preemptively, I did get permission to share these screenshots from Ponder herself, so all of you who are going to try and use this as an argument, you can shut up.
The same server he had left in light of the allegations, meaning he at some point was allowed to return. Now, honestly, I feel like a fucking idiot for not putting those 2 dots together sooner, since one of the people Colin talked to while making the video Heaton got so fucking butt mad at was me. I was freshly dealing with coming forward about Liam and getting tone policed by Heaton and her doers of crackers bidding, and Colin asked me about what the deal with Liam was actually even about, since it was pure fucking chaos at that point. That was the only time I had spoken to him as an adult in that server, as any messages after were from when I was no longer really present because I had been successfully victim shamed for my abuse situation. So, when the fuck did he get back into the server? A month after he had admitted to having the drive with CSCM on it, and it was at my suggestion. I was a fan of his at the time, and trying pretty hard to be a good friend to him, since I naively thought at the time that he was a really sweet guy, and I had also been poisoned beyond belief by the adults around me, including my groomer, that the things Colin did were just stupid, easily forgivable mistakes that most make at some point in their lives. So I took it upon myself to reach out to him and see if he wanted me to get him back into the server. We had a talk that I die a little bit inside over every time I read it, and then I reached out to Ponder to ask him to let him back in. Now, I would hope that any 27-year-olds out there might hear this and think that, in her position, the correct response would be to firmly shut that request down and explain to the minor that they're talking to a dangerous individual, because that is the correct response. However, Ponder let him back into the server, and he was welcomed with open arms. There is grace to be given to a certain extent, given what Ponder was dealing with at the time, but it doesn't excuse Ponder from not making the obvious decision to publicly disavow Colin for what he had done, especially as the person who publicly defended him to the point of saving his entire internet career. Nor does it excuse the rest of the people in that server call not saying anything either. However, what truly nothing can excuse on Ponder's end is allowing Colin back into the server just a month after the call took place, discussing his admittance of keeping a drive with CSCM of a 13-year-old on it past his 18th birthday. And worse yet, inviting him back at the minor's behest. From the conversation I had with Colin, it's clear someone or some people convinced me that it wasn't that big of a deal, considering I was 17 and deep in being groomed by Avi at the time, while also having several other instances of sexual maltreatment and or grooming from people like the Omega, Brandon, and Christopher. This isn't too surprising on my end, and I've been told that I shouldn't be chastising my younger self for believing this obvious falsity. I should also note that it realistically was not, under any circumstance, the 17-year-old's responsibility to do something about this. However, I don't understand how a fully grown 27-year-old, as Ponder was able to look past something that fucking egregious. I just straight up can't defend that at all, and the fact that she did that, I fucking hate everything. I know I've stuck my neck out a lot for her because she has been subjected to a lot of bad faith assumptions that I wanted to dispel on her behalf, but this was genuinely so fucked up of her to do, and a gross failure on looking out for my well-being. Especially when she also later knew that I went back into Spoctor's Patreon Discord server, where I was then sexually harassed while I was still a minor. That's not her fault, of course, but saying or doing nothing about me going back to be in the sex pest spaces is absolutely a failure on her end. Believe me when I say there's unfortunately a lot more to talk about when it comes to Ponder that has absolutely been shattering my fucking heart, but I deadass can't deal with that right now. Not saying never, but not right now. I will say, I've told Ponder about all of this and more, and she's given me a very heartfelt apology that she hasn't retracted or shown she didn't mean, which is more than just about anyone I've dealt with before has given me. But as for this video, I won't be talking more about her. Moving back to Joseph's behavior, in 2024, Laka Mocha Laka hosted a stream about Joseph's involvement in the Discord server, the Fruitcake Club, commonly referred to as the FCK. You probably know about it, seeing as it's been talked about for well over the past year, but just in case, here's a clip from my video on Avi and Nezi detailing it. TLDR, the Fruitcake Club, called the FCK for the sake of brevity, was a server that had a lot of adult content in it, full of the old art commentator sphere and adjacent from 2019 to 2020. That included, but was not limited to, Doodle Tones, the names Junkie, Lucifix, Mad Libs, Hopeless Peaches, Miss Zizi, Fuchsia Butters, Toby Majestic, Toasty Vanilla, and Nezi Monster, as well as a bunch of fucking children, the youngest of whom was 12. Several of these children were children with online platforms like Slimmers, Mimi Diggs, It's Jamesy, and the most outspoken member, Teddy That Draws. These children were regularly subjected to, encouraged to share, and even create pornographic artwork, though real-life pornographic images were also shared by adults. There was also a chat dedicated to porn that Slimmers, a child, drew with others in the server interacting in there. I want to be clear, not every member was equally culpable or even participated in things as much as others. As far as I'm aware, Zizi, Fuchsia, Peaches, Toby, and especially Toasty, who groomed Teddy, were the worst offenders, while others served more as enablers, like Junkie, Lucifix, though apparently he was the fucking admin, and Nezi, who knew about the minors' porn chat. There's two things I want people to take note of from this clip. One being Joseph's role as being an enabler, and the mention of Hal being the admin of the server. Firstly, the focus on Hal here as opposed to Joseph was a bit ill-balanced. As though, yes, Hal was the admin, the situation was not typical of someone having an admin role. Toasty apparently did just give him the role, despite the two of them not being close, which is weird considering Hal only had 60 messages in the server over the span of 2 months, and most were just art pieces. Like, don't get me wrong, Hal still fucked up and even posted a couple inappropriate things himself, but given how much less involved they were in the community and the server itself, it's not something I feel the need to put under too much heat. Joseph, however, deserves a much bigger spotlight for his actions in that server. Not only was Joseph incredibly inappropriate around the minors in that server himself, but he was also found to have witnessed the porn spamming in the server, particularly by Slimmers, even tagging her over it, and when explained to him by Toasty that the people in that server, including the kids, post porn randomly for fun, Junkie encouraged them to continue doing that with an XD amazing carry on. Things unfortunately don't end there, as Joseph would then, I believe, intimidate and then ignore Teddy That Draws trying to come forward about what Toasty had done to her. Joseph was a first-hand witness and enabler to Toasty being inappropriate with and around minors, yet wanted to cover for them when Teddy tried to advocate for herself.
Due to how I was treated, I had still told the story and didn't name people involved. I was so torn and thought I had wrongly accused someone of grooming. When I had made that apology, I had gone to the creators I had told and said I had lied, one of them being Junkie. And Hopeless Peaches. These screenshots are again from an account I cannot access, but I had told so many people and had sent said apology receiving either a cold shoulder or it is what it is. The name's Junkie has been proven to know exactly what happened in the server, and had kept being friends with Toasty even after the fact. I had begged people to listen to me when this was happening, crying about a video being made on me for telling people I was groomed by an adult who they all knew and were friends with, in a server they were in. By the time the dust had settled, people started to ignore me, brushing me off. I had a hatred for the adults who sat there and knew exactly what happened for years.
Now, before moving on too quickly to present happenings, as it adds somehow even more layers of fucked. So Joseph was one of the people I met online when I was 14 and joined the slideshow commentary sphere, as the SCC and the DA ranters were in the middle of experiencing a big collision at the time. I won't lie, Joseph never particularly read as very bright to me, or even mature. One instance I can think of to highlight how dim he could be is when Spoctor, Colin, before he got outed for being in possession of CSCM and also while he was a minor himself, was doxxed on Twitter, and Joseph thought it would be a good idea to start having public slap fights with the account, bringing infinitely more attention to a thing that everyone else was trying to keep under wraps as much as humanly possible while we tried to get it taken down. Heaton's dumbass actually also outed this fact in her aforementioned video on Fran. God, that video was fucking garbage, but again, another day. So not only was my friendship with Joseph littered with me constantly having to clean up the messes he made, some of which were discreetly mentioned in my video in 2021 about Liam. But yeah, not only did Joseph involve me in or allow me to be in several drama situations as a minor to help save his ass from whatever dumb shit he was in the middle of, which was stressful and inappropriate, but not majorly an issue. But he also threw me at a known groomer the second I turned 18. Sar, remember Toasty? Well, within a month of me turning 18 in 2020, which he knew, the same year he had threatened to silence Teddy if she ever spoke up about what Toasty did, Joseph introduced me to Toasty, and the two of us did form a friendship. I know I was definitely poisoned against Teddy at the time from the brief tellings of events I was told, though I don't know to what degree. But what I do know is that in the friendship I formed with Toasty, I was subjected to the same disregarding and pushing of sexual boundaries from them that I was unfortunately already used to. It's not something I've ever talked about before, but back in the day when I was younger, I used to publicly identify as asexual. And though part of this was for personal private reasons I won't disclose, there was a more practical purpose for the identity. I naively thought that if people knew I was asexual, they would avoid sexual content and conversations around me. But instead, because of the type of men I was around, including Toasty, it was almost seen as a challenge. There's a very haunting interaction between me and Phantom Heart from early 2021, where I talk about how Toasty sent me pornographic artwork, and when I asked them to take it down, they wanted to know why. And when I told them it's because the content made me uncomfortable, they immediately tried to diminish my discomfort and pressured me to let them keep it, which I unfortunately did. Despite that, Toasty and I did form a friendship that became somewhat intimate, and we even planned to meet each other at some point, though thankfully that's something that never came to be, as they dipped entirely at some point due to being in a military boot camp thing and running from responsibility. Deadass, I don't even know how to explain how it feels getting, I don't know, secondhand orbited? Like, what the fuck do I even say to that? I'm pretty sure at this point my adolescence was just a constant parkour session, but instead of rooftops, I was just leaping to degenerate dudes. Fuck my drag. I unfortunately don't have my DMs with Joseph anymore, as he deleted his account at Laga's request after being obliterated on his stream, and by the time I learned how to export things on Discord, my DMs with Joseph had already disappeared due to inactivity, with no way to retrieve them. So L probably shouldn't have had him delete his account. Oh well. Fortunately, all hope was not lost in terms of confirming certain events. Cue the lion! If you've been here before, you already know that I'm friends with Lio. I will not be doing any more prefaces regarding him in this or any future content. Don't be weird in my comments about my friendship with him, or your comments will disappear. So, I was in a call with Lio, and while venting about how much I hated Joseph because all the shit he made me clean up for him and what he did with me regarding Toasty Vanilla, Lio informed me that he still had a line of communication with Joseph through an alt account passed to him by his partner, Hal, and that he could get me into a call with him to potentially get some answers. I will warn everyone, Joseph has chronic 1 HP voice throughout pretty much this entire call. Fortunately for everyone here, I spent like an hour boosting his volume. You're welcome. So without further ado, I present to you some really infuriating mumbling.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. You want to go ahead and take the reins, Chuuli?
Yeah. Hi. I haven't talked to you in a long time. I don't think I want to talk to you ever again after this, but I would like some questions answered.
Alright.
So, you knew a lot of what was going on in the FCK when it was happening. There's logs of you telling children to continue drawing and sharing porn. And I also know that you had a hand in silencing Taddy when she talked about what Toasty did to her. Is that correct?
I think it's been a hot minute.
Okay. The main reason why I wanted to talk to you is the fact that you introduced me to Toasty after all of that happened in the FCK, when Toasty was under fire. Do you remember that at all?
It's a little foggy. I apologize.
You introduced me to Toasty maybe a couple weeks after I turned 18. Was that intentional?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so are you... Okay. Would you have introduced me to Toasty if I was a minor?
I don't think so, no.
That is... those are contradictory answers, Junkie.
Likely, since I didn't meet you during the time, I probably wouldn't have.
Could you repeat that?
I said likely, since I didn't meet you during the time before you turned 18, I likely wouldn't have.
Junkie, you met me when I was 14.
Did I?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Wow, so you actually don't remember, like, even how young I was?
No, I don't.
Well, because you were... I can confirm you that you were very, aware of my age at the time. Because I knew you for years before you introduced me to Toasty. Lyle, you're being abducted by aliens.
No, just I'm trying to remember, and I don't.
Why?
I don't know. I can't remember any of that.
You don't remember me being your friend back in 2019, 2018, 2020?
I apologize. The name didn't ring a bell when I first saw it.
Okay, does Dulu?
Wait a minute. Dulu?
Yes, this is me. Hi.
Oh my god. Yeah, that name rings a bell now.
Do you remember me being your friend now? When I was a kid?
I do.
Why did you wait until we had a big celebration about my 18th birthday, which you were there for? Why did you wait until after I was an adult to introduce me to Toasty?
I think I just want to try and create a friend group with everyone, but I didn't think of his behavior at the time. I don't know why I didn't.
Okay. Because I do find it very suspicious that you had heard of this guy's whole thing with Teddy and tried to help shut it down, hush hush. And you also were very intimately aware of him having a server where they would spam porn. You knew that was Toasty's whole gig, basically. So it just is very suspicious to me that you waited until the second I turned 18 and then throw me at them.
I didn't have any malice behind it. I didn't.
That would track, because it's very obvious to me that you don't think, or at least you didn't when I knew you, But that was fucked up of you to do.
It was.
Because I did get really close to Toasty when you did that. Because I was dealing with a shitty guy who I was able to break away from. But I only broke away with him just to turn around and cling to Toasty. And we were gonna meet. And I didn't know anything about what they had done. And you did. And you just threw this fresh 18-year-old at them.
I'm sorry.
You fucking should be. I don't understand how you saw that stuff going on. Because you were in Fiendish Cavern. You were in Ponder's server. And you knew that porn was banned there because I and a couple other people were under 18.
Right.
So I don't know why it didn't click in your mind seeing other children post porn around adults and say, hey, actually, this shouldn't be allowed.
Oh, you're right. I should have done something.
Because I kind of don't believe that there wasn't any malice behind throwing me to him, because I remember you and a couple other people trying to feed me the story that Teddy was falsely accusing Toasty.
Right.
And I think that's real fucking sinister that you saw Toasty get under fire, swept for it, and then only introduced me to them after I became a legal adult. Knowing what Toasty had done.
Right.
I just don't know what the fuck your deal was. Because you were always causing problems for me back then. And my friends. Like, you remember Kylie.
Right.
You were always causing problems for her, and I, as a, what was I then? 16-year-old, I should not have been having to wrangle you in to keep you from being a dumbass because you refused to act your age. You were insufferable.
I was.
And I don't know why you did any of that shit. Because, I mean, how long have you been off your channel?
About 5-6 years, I think. Oh, no, 4 to 5 years.
Okay. And, like, what's the deal with you right now? What is this account about?
This one, it's just connect with friends that I have right now.
Are any of them from before you got exposed?
No.
Are you ever thinking of trying to have a platform again?
No.
Okay, good. God. I just don't understand, like, why I had to be stuck with someone like you. Because I do remember liking you. I had an affection for you as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But you were always causing me problems. You were always causing Kylie problems. You were always beefing with other people. I was having to go in and fix every mess you made. Otherwise, you just would cry and sulk all day and not want to do anything. Because I remember having to fix up your shit with Kylie. I remember having to fix up your shit because you and Chaos were being idiots and she was threatening to go public with stuff.
Right.
And I remember you being in multiple conversations where I was just getting full-on berated by adults. And you would just sit on the sidelines and posit little opinions that you had about whatever the fucking argument was. Like Caden one time decided to make a spectacle of me in a group chat when I was 15 and start talking about how I'm such a problem as a person and start berating me for all these problems, even though he was, I want to say 26 or 27 at the time. And you just sat there and agreed with him, even though he was telling a child that their entire being is an issue.
I should have been a better friend for you, for what you've gone through.
Why didn't you grow up?
I don't know, just I had a lot of personal issues that I never really fixed till I've actually gone to seek therapy and figured out how much of an awful friend I was to a lot of people. To you, to Kylie, to a lot of people, how I just constantly beef with others. And just realized later in life how much I've wrongfully hurt others. I guess this is why I'm just staying off my camp, but I don't want to do that same shit anymore. I've done enough damage.
That's good. How old are you now? You should be like 27?
I'm 28 now.
28. Yeah, that tracks. Because I think you're... When's your birthday?
It's April 3rd.
Yeah, you're about 5.5 years older than me. And... I don't know, I guess I could say I'm glad that you're finally acting it.
I should have acted it way before then, though.
Yeah, you should have. And to be honest, the stuff that you let happen and the amount of kids that you hurt because you weren't acting your age, it does make me wish way worse for you than just leaving and going to make a new life with other people on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of fucking hate you.
You have every right to.
I know that. I'm also a little disappointed because I was hoping I would get at least some kind of answer that wasn't just complete negligence, because I was hoping that, I don't know, that wouldn't be the truth for once with all the shit I had to deal with. But this is confirmation that you were another adult in my life who was beyond negligent, and ended up hurting me.
Right. I just hope you're in a better spot now than what I put you in.
Yeah, I've been trying to be.
Right.
It's not like you made it easy.
No, I didn't.
And I don't know why the fuck you were still trying to talk to me when you knew that you were under fire for shit. Because when I came to you about the shit that Liam Fagos was doing to me, and then, because I didn't know what the fuck you had done, but you did, and you were kind of just love bombing me. Like, before the video came out, when it came out, and after it, you would send me just messages, oh, you're a good friend, you're a good person. Like, were you trying to get me to save your ass? What were you doing?
No. I think I just wanted just a group of friends to be with, but not actually properly fixing what was actually wrong with me.
Because it is very suspect to me that once you got kind of exposed in 2021, you just didn't say anything publicly.
I just feel like I caused enough damage as is. I didn't want to.
Why didn't you say sorry?
I should have.
No, I know that. Why didn't you?
I feel like if I tried, I would just end up hurting more people than I already have.
God, you're so fucking melodramatic. That is the dumbest logic I have heard. Like, I guess I can get it in the case of Heaton because she said she didn't want an apology. But, like, why didn't you just own what you did?
I felt like saying sorry wouldn't have been enough. But I should have said something instead of just saying nothing.
Yeah. Just making sure. You're in contact with no one from before Heaton made that video on you. And I don't even like Heaton. I fucking hate that bitch. And I'm the reason that she's kind of gone right now. But her video was kind of the turning point of, like, you just dipping.
Mm-hmm. And to answer your question, no, I'm not with anyone in contact with in the community.
How did you get in contact with Lyle on this account?
From my partner, Almond.
Your partner, is that the kaiju bitch?
It's Lucifix. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I generally have much more to say to you. I know that Kylie would like to say fuck you forever.
Right.
That neither of us never want anything to do with you again, and that I'm glad to confirm some things with you, but that I hope you stay gone forever and that I never have to see you again.
Okay.
Did you want to say something, Lyle?
I actually have a few questions for Junkie now that I'm a little more informed of their level of activity in the FCK, but I did not want to overstep what I feel are your questions that were a bit more important.
That's okay. I think I've mostly covered everything that I wanted to talk about personally with him.
All right. So, you were pretty active in the FCK, right, Junkie?
Think so, yeah.
Would you be able to give me any information on some of the other people in the server and how they acted in it?
I can't remember much of the details.
Well, I'm not going to ask for super ultra mega specific, so we're going to go ahead and give this a run, okay? How active was Nezzy Monster in the server?
I think somewhat active.
How often was Nezzy Monster involved in calls that kids were present in?
I don't remember them being involved in many of the calls. Maybe one or two.
And how about Peaches?
I think also somewhat active. They're pretty close with Toasty at that time.
Do you recall any of them being inappropriate in these calls with children?
Not that I can recall.
Interesting. Then I guess I'll get to my main question then. Why did you cover it up? Because the thing is, there are some people there who did not know there was grooming. There are some people there who might have hands that are less dirty. But why in the world did you cover up grooming of all things?
I don't know why I did it.
No, I don't know, sir. That's not going to be accepted here. Because if this was just like a real quick, in-the-moment decision, and not something that had to be perpetuated over the course of years, I might grant you that. But that's not what this is, and we both know that. This is something you had to make consistent, continual decisions to do. And there was a reason for it, and I want that reason.
I can't remember why I did it. I'm being genuine. I don't remember why.
Okay, so when somebody walked up and asked you a question about the FCK, your immediate instance was just lie, but don't know why I'm lying?
I'm being serious. I don't remember.
Okay. One more question then. Two, actually. So, this does lead to the idea that you will cover up for your friends in commentary, yes?
I used to do that when I was with the whole Spoctor thing, you know. It's a habit I've been breaking.
Who else have you
broken?
Who else have you covered for? Because once is happenstance, twice is a pattern.
I can't really think of anyone else.
I'm so tired of commentary amnesia. Like, I just am. This is so irritating. So you had to deal with all this crap for years. You had to hide Spoctor's crap. You had to hide the FCK, but you can't remember why, and now you can't remember if there's anything else you're hiding.
I'm serious. I'm genuine. I can't remember. I can't think of anything else.
Okay, why'd you hide Spoctor's?
Yeah.
Because I thought that maybe he was actually being genuine, but I didn't think.
Wait, hold on. Genuine? Genuine about what? He said, I have a drive that has nudes of a child. Please don't tell anybody that I had it. Well, genuine in what? He didn't feed you a line. He didn't lie to you.
I think it was we had a conversation at one point where he was trying to fix himself, so I believed him. But I shouldn't have.
The thing is, Spoctor in that call sat there and told you the main person trying to expose this, I have befriended them to keep them quiet. You heard that. That wasn't accidental. That wasn't like subtext. You heard it. And that at no point made you think, this might be a problem? Because here's the thing. Speaking as somebody who has screwed up and has hurt people and is trying to change, I can tell you right now, if I had a conversation like that around Chuuli, my face would be gone. So this is asinine. You expect me to buy this?
I apologize. I'm truly can't.
Why did you let me go back and be around him?
I don't know. It was ignorant. I should have done something, but I didn't.
That's not ignorance, Junkie. You knew what V Omega did to me. You knew that kind of stuff was wrong, and you let me go back to Spoctor.
How many friends of yours are child predators?
Not that I know of.
Do you know why I'm asking you such a very blunt and awful question?
Why?
Because you've already proven that you'll cover up for one, and you'll also cover up for somebody who owns literal child pornography under the he's my friend, he's totally trying to change guys, totally. So, what am I supposed to expect that you won't do? Junkie, have you ever groomed anyone yourself?
What?
No, never.
Well, that elicited a different emotion. So you do have an ability to respond. Do you know why I asked you such a cruel question?
Why?
Because nobody else would do crap like this. It's unconscionable.
Why didn't you tell me that you got him to admit it in a call?
I don't know why I didn't.
What do you know?
Because you knew that what V Omega did was bad to me. You knew that Fagust was abusing me. Despite the fact that you were with him, helping cover up what Spoctor did, and you still tried to, be a comfort to me when I was trying to come forward about Fagust? You're actually fucking sick, bud.
I know.
Ugh.
What was it? Because I'm not as familiar with commentary lore, thank God. What was it that ran you offline? And off your platforms? I mean, actually ran, because it wasn't Laka. That happened later. What ran you off?
Felt guilty.
About what? What was it you felt guilty for?
About everything what I did for the cover up for the FCK thing.
Okay, but what was the catalyst?
Everything.
What was the catalyst that made you leave?
Because you left your platform before you left the internet entirely. Or at least your account.
I guess I just realized that I was becoming the very thing I wanted to stop.
And I think I know the catalysts.
Go on.
It was Heaton's video about him, and I believe it was November of 2021. That's when he stopped posting on YouTube and stopped posting on Twitter, and then I think it was cemented when Jar and Suzy made a video about his Toby video.
Interesting.
But he didn't actually leave anything, actually delete his accounts and stuff until he had that call with Laka, where he got exposed for talking sexually around children and encouraging them to share porn with each other and covering up what happened to Teddy.
Why did you encourage children to share porn with each other? And please don't tell me I don't know.
Maybe I just assumed that everyone was at 18. Just didn't check their
No.
age.
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hold on. Somebody refresh my memory, because I'm obviously not involved in a lot of this stuff. Did Junkie do a video on Slimmers too? And Madame?
No, but he was there for the entire situation.
So, I'm going to go ahead and take that. I'm going to ball it up and I'm going to throw it away. Let's try this again. Why? Because you knew they were kids. I mean, some people may be able to have that level of disassociation for the arguments they make, but you don't. So, why?
I don't know. I can't remember why I did it.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm being serious. I don't remember.
You're being stupid.
How do you expect us to believe I don't remember? Like, honestly.
I'm not sure.
Like, how fucking tiny is that walnut of a brain inside your head that you think, like us, to believe that you were so mindless, so stupid, that you just went through life doing things for no reason, including telling kids to draw porn?
I don't have the answer to that.
Of course you don't. Fuck that and fuck you.
Okay. I have to ask then. If you left your platform before the call out from Laka because you felt guilty for covering up for the FCK and covering up for your weird friend, why didn't you just come out with all of it? I mean, you're in a community that's favorite pastime is writing asinine Google Docs. You could have just released one of those and took off. Why didn't you? If you felt so guilty.
Maybe I thought he was going to be a better person, but I should have known better.
Well, this isn't just about
Really should've
this
said
isn't just about your freaky friend with the 13-year-old's porn. We're also talking about the FCK as a general, because you said that you left because you felt guilty about covering that up before you got called out by Laka. So why didn't you just tell people on your way out what happened? You would have saved a lot of people a lot of pain and heartache if you did. The one chance you had to make the correct decision, and ta-da, you didn't? Like, what? This one you won't be able to give me a I don't know for. Because it's the entire reason we're here. It's why you left. It's why all this has happened. Go ahead.
To clarify on the timeline, you felt guilty about the stuff in the FCK before Laka confronted you on it, right?
It was more so just I felt guilty for both, but I should have said something.
But, okay, so you did feel guilty for the stuff in the FCK before you were confronted on it by Laka?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, why the fuck didn't you say anything?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Shut the fuck up!
I'm being
Yeah.
serious.
No, you're not! Do not give me that fucking horse shit, Joseph.
The reason why I personally am struggling to accept the I don't knows and all this is because I had at least one interaction with you where you were maliciously thorough in your reasoning. Do you remember that?
I think I do.
I gave you every kindness in the world to stop bad behavior when it came down during the Omnia and Peaches stuff in 2020. I tried to mediate a conversation between you and Manga Common, and you turn around, you lie, and then even when your other friends are asking for your help during the Sherman stuff, you prioritize the fact that you screwed around and screwed other people over the fact that people were in danger. Because you just didn't want to have to deal with the fact that some old angry toy collector was about to rip your throat out. Are you just a coward? Is that just who you are deep down inside?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am.
Joseph is a little fucking bitch. And that's exactly how he acted when I was a kid, which is why I was the one having to clean up all of his shit, because he was too much of a fucking coward to do it himself.
That's why I can't buy this. Because you were malicious. You got out of that call and said, I just apologized to Manga Kamen. I told him I'm going to fix this problem. Now I'm going to go make it worse. Now I'm going to lie in this video where a whole bunch of people are going to see it. Now I'm going to have, I'm going to pass the call on to Omnia and Kai and Creepshow Art so they can have a little giggle fit over the fact that I sat there and lied to my friend. And I want to be very clear, this is extremely minor compared to, I don't know, covering up for child predators. Very minor, by the way. This is not the main point here. But the main point is I'm using this to demonstrate the fact that you're malicious. And you plot things. So no, I don't magically buy that you suddenly don't remember. I don't, I can't, and I won't.
I know you, Joseph. You're very much capable of malintent.
Right.
So can we please get actual answers instead of doing all of this? Because we're already like 45 minutes in and my patience is tested.
Why didn't you say anything knowing what you knew about the FCK?
Maybe I just believed that Toasty wasn't as malicious as I thought it was. Even though the proof said otherwise.
But you know that so many children were in danger.
And that you just said that
You know
left.
that there was specific...
You said you left because of the guilt over the FCK, so you can't sit here and say, I didn't think he was malicious, because that, for you to have guilt over it, would require you to already know. So I'm going to ask you politely once. Please stop lying. Because that's what that is. That is a lie. That's not an accident. That's not misremembering. That's just a lie. So we're going to move forward. Please stop. Because at this point, unless we found out you've done something to a kid, there's nothing else you can lose. So you got nothing to protect. Okay?
Okay.
So why didn't you say anything when you left?
I didn't say anything because... deep down I didn't think much of it.
Okay. Why did you sit there and tell kids to draw porn of each other?
Because I just...
Were you so porn-brained that you just enjoyed people doing it, especially kids, because, haha, it's funny the kids are drawing porn?
I didn't think of what their age were because deep down I do have a really bad addiction to this stuff.
No, I can tell. I had to verify a very vile picture with you. Trust me, I'm aware. That's why I asked.
Yeah,
Are you getting therapy for that?
I am.
Okay.
Okay, so, again, I'm going to go back to the other questions, and since now you're finally being honest, which is appreciated, by the way. How active were the names I asked you in the FCK, and how often did they talk sexually around children?
I remember Toasty being pretty active about it.
Alright, how about Desi Monster?
I don't remember them being too active. I know they were in calls a lot, chatting with Toasty, but being too sexually active in texts.
Alright, and how about Peaches? How often? And it's not just text, it's text, calls, all that. How active was she in the server? How often do you know of that she talked sexually around children?
I think maybe once. I
All right.
remember.
Alright, how about Jar?
I remember Jar being in there.
I see. Thank you for finally answering the questions properly. My final question is, why did you just try to lie to us? And don't tell me you don't know. There had to be a reason. What's the actual reason?
A lot of my memories have been repressed. I've been trying to remember all the awful shit I did.
Don't you talk about this stuff in therapy?
I do. And
Okay.
I gotta pick away to piece by piece.
Okay, so you've been jogging your memory in therapy. Why is it suddenly now in call that it's repressed?
I don't know, maybe it's just a defense mechanism I have.
Are you just so used to lying that it's your default at this point?
It's a gut feeling, you know.
Great.
Junkie has admitted to me in the past that his heat of the moment decision is always to lie.
Okay, so I just want to make it very clear,
Yeah.
in case we ever have to be in call again. That is 100% a way to make me go from 0 to 100. I hate liars. I hate it when people lie. It is so absolutely pointless, unnecessary, stupid, and cowardly. Do not lie to me again, or I will become unglued. And I actually don't want to.
Right.
Are you still in contact with Phantom Heart?
No, I'm not.
When did you cut contact with them?
I think it was 3 to 4 years ago.
Because I know... I don't think Phantom Heart was in the FCK.
No, they weren't.
Okay. So they're another person that you lied to about Toasty? Because Phantom Heart knew of the FCK. Because I remember in our group chat, because online drama shit was really stressing me out at the time, you guys would warn me by changing the name of the group chat from just the normal thing, and then you would put it into what you guys called fruitcake mode.
I don't remember doing that.
Of course. And I remember being in a server with Toasty and Slimmers, and I think Phantom Heart was also there. Did you tell them anything about the FCK?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know how she knew of it then?
I think Toasty mentioned it to them at one point.
Okay, because yeah. God, you fucking suck.
Are there any more commentary people you are hiding things for? Since you're finally being honest.
Nothing I can think of, no.
Okay. Thank you. You got anything else you want to go over with this individual, Chuuli?
No.
Okay. We'll go ahead and leave then, and I'll be in contact if anything else is needed.
Hello, welcome back to the present. I'm sure everything has at least one thing on your minds right now. What the fuck? That was genuinely evil. The major thing I want to highlight, in addition to Joseph throwing me straight into a groomer's arms the second I turned 18, was him admitting that the reason why he encouraged kids to draw and share porn in the FCK and why it didn't mean anything bad to him is because he's a porn addict. I know addiction is a serious issue, but it getting to the point where you involve children in your sex-based addiction in order to fuel it, I straight up don't know how to properly respond to that in a way that wouldn't get my channel immediately banned. Following that illuminating call, there were two things at the forefront of my mind. Two loose ends I didn't feel comfortable leaving that way. What's the deal with Phantom Heart and Hal? With Hal, I was confused on if they knew everything, why they were allowed to stick around after sticking by Joseph. So then I wondered if they did know everything, or if they were in the dark on Joseph's sick and twisted behavior as well. With Phantom, I hadn't heard from or spoken to her in years, not ever since Joseph got cancelled in 2021 by Heaton. However, I had no idea exactly what she knew about the FCK and Toasty's actions regarding Teddy, since we were both around Toasty at the same time, and in an old group chat I shared with Phantom, she used to change the group name to Fruitcake Mode whenever stressful drama shit I didn't want to deal with at the time was being discussed. So, wondering if Phantom had been another one of the people lied to and manipulated by Joseph, I tried to reach out. I couldn't reach her directly through her Discord, so I hit up one of my friends, Jem, who was still friends with her Discord account, though they hadn't spoken to her in forever either. From the conversation that followed, I gleaned that Phantom didn't know anything about Joseph's actions regarding kids. That much was certain. However, she had vague memory of possibly knowing knowing what Toasty had done. Maybe through a fucked up misconstruction from Toasty and or Joseph, and I wanted to see if Phantom had any proof of Toasty giving their side of the situation to her, but, you know what? I'm just gonna have Gemini read out everything that transpired.
Hey, so Chuuli would like to clear things up with you regarding Junkie.
Who this?
It's Gem, formerly Pega Gamer.
Ah, who's Chuuli?
Formerly Dulu.
What do they want to clear up? I haven't spoken to Junk in like 2 years.
About the FCK situation, and if you knew about what happened with that, and what role Junkie had.
Far as I'm aware, Junkie took down his video because of the negative feedback and Manga and Peaches sending their hate crowds at him. Junkie's doing better in therapy, but that's about it. Everyone's kinda just drifted off since 2020.
Chuuli just asked me to shoot you a DM and ask if they can get in contact with you to talk about what happened. You okay with me getting you in contact with Chuuli?
Gonna be fairly honest here and say that I don't really have any info to give them, and I barely remember them. Been focusing on my actual life for the past 5 years. They can shoot me a DM if they want, but I don't really know what we would talk about.
That's fair. I do genuinely hope things are going well for you. If there's any information you do remember relating to the FCK and Toasty Vanilla, that would help a lot.
Not really, just that everyone in that group was fucked. I'm not even in any of the groups that had the DMs, and I think half of them changed accounts.
That's valid. Would you be okay if I made a group DM between you, me, and Chuuli? So it'd be easier to DM about it?
Hope y'all are doing good though.
Living life.
Sure if you want. I just don't remember much and don't have any receipts, but yeah.
I'm sure any information would help. I'm assuming they're investigating and just want to cover all bases, which is fair.
Sure if they want, I just don't have much to give.
So I guess I can make a quick list just off the bat. 1. Did you know anything about the Fruitcake Club /FCK? In a DM group we had back in the day, you used to set the chat name to Fruitcake mode whenever people talked about drama stuff because it stressed me out. So that leads me to believe that either Toasty or Junkie told you of the FCK, but probably nothing about what went down in it. 2. How did you meet Toasty? Was it through Junkie or some other means? What did Junkie tell you about them? 3. Are you still in contact with Toasty at all? Did you two ever meet up like they told me you guys planned?
Knew it was a server that had a bunch of commentary people in it. It had people with a porn chat and a bunch of drama. Don't remember much else. No clue. Junkie and Toasty didn't get along from what I remember. Used to play video games with Toasty before I focused on school. Nah, never met up with her. Last I heard, she was going back to her home state. It's been 3 to 4 years since I've interacted with any of them on a level that I'd remember clearly. Last I heard from Junkie was that he was just focusing more on his personal life. It's been just the same with me.
Do you remember what her home state is? Where did you hear she was moving back? Also, do you remember any situation between Teddy that draws and Toasty about her being inappropriate with Teddy when she was a minor?
One of the Carolinas? Somewhere south. I just remember things went south between them at some point because we used to all play games together, but Junkie didn't want to anymore at some point. Vaguely remember the name Teddy. I remember looking at some stuff Toasty sent me, but don't remember the context.
I wonder if there's any way to retrieve those DMs. One of her accounts still exists. It's just vanilla, period.
Not in my DMs list.
It's possible on desktop to send a friend request on Discord and open them back that way. I can show you that when you're available if you want.
I'm not really interested in investing a lot of time into this. If you have quick questions, I'm happy to provide what I know, but I haven't interacted with the commentary scene for years, and I don't feel like dedicating my time to it more than I had.
I understand that, but I don't think turning down the opportunity to possibly find proof of Toasty trying to twist the narrative about the child they groomed is the right move.
I see. We can consider this conversation over then. I don't enjoy people holding morality over my head about situations I'm not involved in.
What a fucking coward!
I do want to add that they did DM me saying that they were mad about it or whatever.
Hope you do well in the future, but I don't do well with people manipulating me and only contacting me as a means to an end.
And then they blocked me. And then before I did screenshot it because I couldn't message them again. They did this before I could respond. I was like, I didn't mean for it to come off like that. I want to be straightforward with you about it, which is true. which is fine, but whatever. C'est la vie, I suppose.
So yeah, unfortunately, because Phantom is a bitch-ass coward with no morals guiding her life, after the slightest pushback to her hesitancy to look for this proof because she just doesn't care about the fact that she may have evidence on a predator who's still around, she flanked on the conversation, complaining about how I'm holding morality over her head, which is the most bitchless way of saying that I pointed out that her inaction would be fucked up. I shouldn't be too surprised, considering the last time she got any heat online, she vanished off the face of the internet, including the Twitter account you're still following me on, dickhead. I can't imagine being a perfect example of how someone can just refuse to grow up. But there's nothing I can do to make an adult act their age. She also immediately blocked Jem, as stated, with a self-victimizing send-off because of fucking course she did. Manipulative and dishonest people are so predictable. So with Phantom being a complete bust, I was fairly hesitant to bring anything to Hal's attention, considering how much closer to Joseph he was, and also considering what happened the last time I dealt with someone handling the allegations against their boyfriend.
First of all, this was her, like, we were making jokes. Dick shaped cookies and waffles? What? Yes, of course.
No, listen to me. Holy shit.
I'm saying there's a part of context that was removed from the situation.
Despite that, I wanted to make sure I had everything right, because it would greatly inform how I was going to move forward with things, including this video. I was also horrified by the prospect that if Hal didn't know what Joseph had done, this would be the way he found out. So on July 27th, after a couple weeks of agony and screaming, Laya was able to get me into a call with Hal, in which Hal actually thought he was just going to be confirming to me and apologizing for his own actions in the FCK, which were minuscule in comparison to others. We had a talk about Joseph's behavior, and I'm not going to be playing that call. As far as I'm concerned, based on the level of ignorance that Hal had to the stuff his boyfriend was doing, he has a right to privacy, and I don't think I need to be showing him struggling with what he was informed about to the whole of YouTube. Because as it turns out, Hal was entirely ignorant to Joseph encouraging children to continue drawing and posting pornography in the server, as Hal had been dismissed from the call with Laka where that was discussed. And Joseph had specifically made sure to leave it out when discussing both that call and the call that Lio and I had with him to Hal. I honestly feel terrible over how heartbroken and horrified they were when they came to learn about Joseph, but they've been very diligent on reassuring me that it was the right thing to do. It should be obvious, but the two of them aren't together anymore, and I'm hoping that Hal is able to move on from this with as little or easy to manage grief as possible. He also wrote out a formal apology again for his involvement in the FCK, which you can pause to read here. So, in conclusion...
Firing squad.
In all other seriousness, my heart really does go out to Hal. Finding out your boyfriend was being hella inappropriate with kids through someone else because he didn't feel like letting his partner know who he really was because he knew it'd end the relationship. What the fuck do I even say at that? Joseph is a cowardly, monstrous pervert who stuck to his ways till the end, and should stay gone now that his last remaining connection to anything kicked him to the curb as they should. Usually at this point I would bring up whatever the freaking question is up to now and try and rally some form of accountability on them or awareness of their presence, but I deadass think Joseph is just gone. He's still alive, unfortunately, but no cap, without giving too much details, I think I have fucked up Joseph's life more than any other person I've talked about on this channel. And like I say, I did it, but let's be so for real, all I did was hold him accountable for the deplorable actions that he made. Moving forward, I'm gonna be completing the last few videos I have left to make on this channel, and I'm gonna be honest, one of them is a video that I never thought I would feel the need to make in the entirety of my time being on YouTube. But that's life. Shit's tough, and unfortunately, no matter what, you gotta carry on somehow. So that's what I'll do. I also hope to upload some videos to my new channel as I work on this stuff because, dear God, I've been neglecting that baby. She is sobbing and malnourished. And that's it. Stream Jealous Type by Doja Cat. Bye.